Welcome to Both And with Bessi Graham, your weekly inspiration to help you use your time, talent, and treasure to make a bigger difference in the lives of others. I'm your host, Bessi Graham, award-winning entrepreneur with over 20 years of experience from the grassroots to the hallowed halls. Thanks for joining me. Let's jump in. For each of us, moments of change, a crossroad, grief and loss flow in and out of our experience of life. Sometimes they seem to appear out of nowhere and take even the most stoic of us down fast. At other times, their presence is a slow, growing sense of discomfort or unease that eventually turns into something more significant that we can no longer ignore. As Katherine May says in her beautiful book, Wintering: The Power of Rest and Retreat in Difficult Times, however it arrives, wintering is usually involuntary, lonely, and deeply painful. If you are feeling that you are either in or coming out of a period of wintering, please know that you are not alone. I'm working with leaders from all over the world, in 11 countries right now to be precise. And one of the patterns that I'm seeing is that while people are using different words, there is a common feeling of wanting to reclaim their life and legacy and make it their own. There has been a waking up of sorts, a growing realization that what we worked so hard for, what the world, family, or friends told us success was, is not in fact fulfilling. The whispers we once heard are now shouting at us that a disconnected life with pieces of ourselves that never seem to merge or align is exhausting. A burning desire to find ways to channel all the pieces that make us uniquely us towards a legacy that is life-giving and fulfilling for us, but also impactful on the world, is calling with a new sense of urgency. If you're feeling a version of that, if you're feeling stuck and don't know why, unfulfilled even though you look to the outside world like you've made it, you and I should talk. I want to give you some tools and new ways of thinking that can help you emerge stronger and encourage you that wintering is not something to avoid. For the work you want to do, the difference you want to make, and the legacy you are capable of leaving, you need to step more fully into your own brilliance. A big part of that journey is the journey of self-discovery, reflection, and awareness. The conscious shedding of what does not serve you and cultivating what does. Your brilliance sits on the other side of an intentional process of thinking, making decisions, and behaving in different ways that align with who you really are. That's an inside job, and it starts with deeply knowing yourself. I'm not talking about your title, your position, your qualifications or awards that you might rattle off in a bio. I'm not even talking about the persona or personas that you may have become so well rehearsed at taking on in your work or personal life. Often, we've played a role for so long that we can't pull apart what is us and what is the character. Patterns can be hard to break, and they can be misleading or confusing when we begin to pause and question who we really are behind the decades of hustle and grind, striving and achieving. Wintering brings about some of the most profound and insightful moments of our human experience, and wisdom resides in those who have wintered. Beautiful words again from Katherine May's book, Wintering. What you and I have here in this moment that we are creating is a safe space for you to peel away some of the layers. I'm sitting here with you as you pull back the curtain and peek behind the public facade of who the world sees you to be. I understand that it can be uncomfortable and that it's a leap of faith to trust that what will emerge will be richer and more fulfilling. But I'm going to ask you to trust me. This isn't my first rodeo. So trust me and come on this journey. For me, wintering is something I became familiar with as a child. I have had many cycles of wintering throughout my life. Whether wintering is an old friend or an experience you are only recently becoming acquainted with, it is unlikely that it's completely foreign to you. For many of us, the last few years have been a long, drawn-out version of wintering that has forced us to reflect and question in new ways. Teased and hinted at lessons and changes we should make, but simultaneously robbed us of agency on the most basic of actions, like leaving our home, spending time with those we love, or travelling. I've seen in my own life and through my work that this season has brought those of us who are used to being the rock others rely on to our knees. It's an unsettling feeling to not be able to see next steps or visualize future scenarios in the ways we always have. When you're used to having the answers and having them come to mind quickly, and solutions being the intuitive way your brain works, it is incredibly disconcerting to suddenly find yourself coming up blank and not knowing what to do. Those of us who are the action-oriented doers are less practiced at not knowing what to do, and it can take us by surprise. So if you're feeling that, again, I'm encouraging you to relax into the knowledge that you're not alone. And this shift, this new sensation, this different experience that you're having, leaders all over the world are in that same place. When this happens for me, I find myself going into a version of disassociation with my body. I literally see black. My mind goes completely empty. Now, my mind is usually technicolor and running in multiple directions. So when it goes black, I tend to shut down. I stop speaking. I retreat and disengage. I have a strong urge to run away so that I can be by myself. And when that isn't an option, I'm consumed by an incredible tiredness, which makes me want to sleep a lot. All these responses are my body's way of disconnecting from such a foreign and uncomfortable feeling. Your version of that might look quite different. But whatever it is for you, I'm asking you to start to tune in and be aware of, become conscious of, if you are having reactions, responses to the discomfort of what is ultimately this concept of wintering that I'm talking about. So understanding these times where we have these responses, understanding them as opportunities to winter, can soften the edges of the experience and at least make us conscious of the choice we can make about how we will engage with these inevitable moments so that we do as little damage to ourselves and others while we're in them, and we have a chance to come out the other side wiser and kinder as a result. In the book Wintering, Katherine May goes on to say that in our relentless, busy, contemporary world, we are forever trying to defer the onset of winter. We don't ever dare to feel its full bite, and we don't dare to show the way that it ravages us. A sharp wintering sometimes would do us good. That's the part of wintering I want you to focus on. The aspect that it can leave you wiser, that it can do you good to have these moments where you become more conscious, more aware of your own limitations, your own responses, and you learn to sit with those to find more healthy ways of engaging, more sustainable approaches to how you go about life, business, the creation of a legacy. So if there are aspects of how you're feeling that are overwhelming, I want you to acknowledge that, even if only to yourself at this point. One of the things I know is that trying to add another thing to your to-do list when you're already overwhelmed, or trying to learn a new strategy or framework when the mental load and decision fatigue is already at breaking point, is a recipe for disaster. So even if until recently you felt invincible and you felt like you could just keep pouring more responsibility, more challenges, more things onto your to-do list, and you always managed to cope, I'm asking you to stop and question that approach. Really, I'm asking you to learn from my mistakes on this one, if you're lucky enough to have not made this mistake for yourself yet. So let me map out for you some of the steps that, even if you don't yet have them in place, you can get a feel for where you are and what might be helpful for you on this journey. Personally, I find that having a sense of the journey ahead and identifying which areas you need to work on can help settle my mind when it starts to swirl. Over the past 2 decades, we've developed a 3-staged methodology to create space for reflecting on the right things and ensuring that you have the right data points to inform the plans you make for the future. When you take this approach, you can dramatically increase the chances of living a life that is both fulfilling for you and has a meaningful impact on the world. Our approach walks you through 3 important stages. We call these Uniquely You, Leveling Up, and Next Level You. The sequence is important, so whether you choose to work with us, someone else, or continue to work through these things on your own, think about the 3 stages as a way to explore and build on important parts of the puzzle in a logical order. Let me explain each stage a little for you. Uniquely you. This first stage acknowledges the central role of a foundational understanding of yourself, the ways you're wired, what you value, what has shaped and influenced you, and how you make decisions. After decades of working with leaders, what I know is that even the most established leaders often have not done the personal work, the reflective work to really question, unpack, and understand themselves. This means that it's very difficult for them to sit back and see more clearly who they are and where they have simply been playing out a pattern or a role that someone else set in motion long ago and that has, over time, become part of their identity, despite being at odds with or causing dissonance inside them. Insights that emerge in the uniquely you stream allow you to design a path forward that can align harmoniously. The patterns, vision, and constraints that emerge will create the backdrop for the targeted work that comes next. When you are clear on your own values, they allow for decisive, efficient, and aligned decision-making and ensure that you behave in ways that have integrity with who you are and what you want to be part of in the world. As you work through this first stage, make sure you are focusing in on really getting to know and understand yourself. Ask more questions. Draw out stories and examples. Test your assumptions and dig a little deeper on common phrases or descriptions that you use about yourself and try to boil things down to their essence. Ultimately, all of this is in the service of creating a life of flow for you, rather than the demoralizing sense of being trapped in anti-flow, working hard, ticking boxes, but never feeling a sense of meaning, purpose, or fulfillment in life. Leveling up. As you move into the second stage, the aspect to be conscious of is that you now need to clear the cognitive space required in order for you to feel able to open up new possibilities. This is where we create the space and prompts to allow you to identify the areas of mental load that are slowing you down and causing exhaustion and burnout. If you work with us, we will give you tools to free up decision-making headspace. If you're doing this on your own, you can use some of our free resources or come up with your own. But whatever you do, as you start to lift the mental load, you can then train yourself to be intentional with the newfound space you have created to ensure focus and effectiveness as a leader. Each of these steps prepares you to create an uncommon and powerful sense of directionality in your work and leadership, allowing you to be more impactful and less burnt out. Next level you. In the final stage of the process, you bring together the insights you've had from the first two stages to articulate your personal vision for the future and what success looks like for you. Break your vision into different time horizons so that you can more effectively map out both what you want and how you are going to bring it to fruition. In the next level you stage, it's important to ensure that the vision and plans you have created for your life and legacy moving forward are truly reflective of your values and aligned with what you want to be part of in the world. This stage provides the opportunity to pull it all together and sense check that vision that you've articulated and the actions you are taking to make sure that they are leading you towards your version of success and meaning. One powerful way to broaden your lens and perspective on how you contribute is to use what we call the 3 T's method. We developed the 3 T's method to ensure that you examine how you are using your time, talent, and treasure to live and lead a meaningful life. As I said earlier, whether you work with us, someone else, or go on this journey privately, the 3 stages I've outlined for you above can provide a roadmap that helps guide your entry in to uncovering what is uniquely you, leveling up, and then stepping into the next level version of you, your life and legacy. As we wind up, I want to bring you full circle back to the idea of wintering and remind you that wintering brings about some of the most profound and insightful moments of our human experience. And wisdom resides in those who have wintered. If you are feeling that you are in or coming out of a period of wintering, you are not alone. If you pay attention to the growing realizations, the stirring of dissatisfaction, the feelings of resentment or exhaustion, you can channel them towards your growth and wisdom. You can design a life that is both fulfilling for you and has a positive impact on the world, but don't leave it to chance. Don't assume good intentions are good enough, and don't blindly believe that working harder will get you where you want to go. Much of what the world will tell you success is will leave you empty. But what you'll uncover as you winter is the richness of an untapped resource that is within you and can drive clarity and help you find a state of flow that will allow your work to be life-giving for you and others. Learning to winter well and going through an intentional process that walks you through the exploration of what is uniquely you, what allows you to level up and then makes possible a next level of you, leads to a life and a legacy that is bigger than you. I hope that you feel re-energized and have a new sense of hope of what is possible. You will be a far more impactful leader if you weave these ideas into your life. I'd love to hear where you're at on your journey and what you're discovering as you do the inner work of leadership. Please reach out. Thank you so much for listening to Both And with Bessi Graham. You know you were born to do something significant, so don't leave it to chance. Join me each week to pick up quick tips and ideas that will support you on your journey to live and lead a meaningful life. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the show so that you never miss an episode. And leave us a review so that other people can find us and feel a little less lonely and a little more supported on their journey of leadership. If you haven't joined our Facebook group yet, you'll find the link in the episode notes. Please join us. Thank you so much for being a part of the community and for tuning into the show each week. See you next time. Cheers.